Welcome back to the CONVO couch, ladies and gentlemen. Pastor Jardula here, and with electoral season heating up, we thought we'd give you a little taste of one of the hottest districts in the country, California 12. That's right, Nancy Pelosi's district. And her challenger, our man, Shahid Buttar. Check him out.
Plan to address, if you were elected, changing Washington systemically on how it's operated. Do you have any mental note? Because I think really some of us in this room, I'm just so disheartened about what's going on in Congress, and we can talk about all these actions we can take and whatnot, but what do we get somebody in there who really wants to change stuff systemically?
So there's a couple different answers to this. I can think of like 2 or 3 takes on it. But so the first, I've spent 10 years in Washington in 2 different 5-year stints, one of them leading the National Civil Rights Organization. And I know how co-opted the process is. The policy-making apparatus in particular is especially corrupt for lots of reasons, not the least of which is you could send insightful voices to Congress like Ocasio-Cortez, and it's one voted 435. Which is to say, it matters to swap us out, but it's not enough by a long shot. On the Hill, if you talk to any member of Congress, their challenge is getting enough visibility for their legislative agenda outside their districts to be able to move the needle. So replacing a seat is just the first in several steps. Among the things we can do structurally, one of them is to work and establish transpartisan consensus around the middle, which is to say, you might think of the left versus right divide as the salient one. Increasingly, I think it's the center versus the periphery. You can go to rural Texas and you'll talk to libertarians and they won't see eye to eye on us with the Green New Deal. Yeah. They won't see eye to eye on us with probably Medicare for all, but they will see eye to eye with us on dismantling mass incarceration, dismantling mass surveillance, legalizing cannabis. These are big deals, getting money out of politics. These are important structural issues.
Civil liberty.
Right? Not everything, but a lot. And if we work that consensus, we can delegitimate the center. And I think that will create very compelling opportunities. Another way to think about this is that an anti-establishment sensibility emerges as progressivism in a city. It's libertarianism in a rural area. The difference is, do you see your neighbors enough to recognize your liberation is bound up in theirs? And if your closest neighbor is a quarter mile down the street, you probably think of liberation as an atomized individual endeavor. If your neighbors live on top of you and you cross 5 of them on your way to your front door, you'll probably recognize that liberation has to be a collective endeavor. I think that's the biggest difference between progressives and libertarians when you get down at the root. And the recognition of interdependence that is entirely implicit in progressivism that libertarians deny because their neighbors aren't in front of them, I think is one piece of it. Another part of it, money in politics, is a big one. As long as capital controls not just our political process, but our society, we can trust that our social policy decisions won't reflect the will of people, they will reflect the will of capital. It is that simple. Capitalism is not markets. Capitalism is not the opportunity for billionaires to make their money. Capitalism is the rule of people by capital. And it's clearly established in every policy. And maybe just one other thing. The last thing I'd say is that the key, I think, has nothing to do with Washington. The key, somebody here was asking how to engage locally. All politics are local. We think global, we act local. And it is when we rebuild a movement of intersectional communities that are fighting on the ground across the country for everyone's rights together, that's how we win.
That's CY is my favorite candidate. I told y'all, man, my favorite candidate.
Yeah.
Well,